In a debt-based monetary system, the country who can withstand the most debt wins. Any nation willing to permanently destroy its currency will be rewarded with short-term triumph, but the mirage will soon disappear and the empire will fall. A new monetary system will emerge, and so will a new global order. Out of the ashes will be your enslavement to it. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today we are going to discuss how Obama is set to become the $20 trillion man. That's right, the US debt is escalating to such a level. I'll get into that today, as well as the whole debt-based system, why it is such a complete fraud, and all the actions and the politicians, their political speech, all increasing taxation on the public. Let's look at this. First, I wanted to note how this Russian jet that had exploded here, the Russian jet broke up at high altitude over Egypt. I wanted to make 2 points from this. The Russian jetliner that crashed shortly after takeoff from an Egyptian resort city broke up at high altitude, scattering fragments of wreckage over a wide area. So there are some things that are a little bit fishy, a lot of holes here that need to be covered up. Now, they apparently recovered the black box, it looks like, and that's this article here. President Obama said Thursday evening that there was a possibility that a terrorist bomb was responsible for the destruction of a Russian passenger plane that broke apart last Saturday over the Sinai Peninsula in Egypt. So there's some little controversy that's happening, and this is an important point that I wanted to note. Mr. Obama said in a radio interview that there have been a bomb on the plane, but he didn't go as far as his counterparts in Britain, who have suggested that the destruction of the plane and the death of all on board was most likely the result of a terrorist explosion. So will they blame ISIS for this, giving them a reason to invade, giving them more firepower, if you will, to get in there? So we'll have to keep an eye on that. I just wanted to mention it. Then I wanted to get into this. A noise from an undetermined source was heard immediately before the black box of a Russian airliner that crashed 1 week ago in Egypt, Sinai, went dark. So they heard a noise. We'll see what comes of this. This article is from The Atlantic. It's talking with none other than Bill Gates. I read the whole article all the way through. It's quite long. It's an interview with him. And basically, they are talking about pollution, they're talking about carbon emissions, they're talking about new technologies for energy. And what you'll find in all of these type of conversations with high-level individuals is the suggestion that they need carbon taxes. So they're saying essentially that India and other countries who are sort of stricken with poverty, let's say, and they have many corporations that are making money off of what they feel are polluters, such as coal, for example. And they say that the way that we get them to change is to essentially force carbon taxes on them. If there are carbon taxes on these so-called polluting industries, then they're going to have to switch faster. Essentially what they're saying is we don't have enough time for this, so we're going to have to step up our game. In order to do that, they said, the best way is a carbon tax. So their solution is taxing the businesses and indirectly taxing people, have them pay more for everything, and therefore we'll be able to get them what they need with their, iPods and all this sort of thing. It doesn't add up if you just sit there and literally think about it. There's many facts and figures which show this in any direction. It doesn't matter. The way I look at this is when you have a solution that is increasing taxation, you're actually just going to keep the economies of the world subdued. And of course, that is the plan. That is the desire, Agenda 21, and others that we've heard about. Now, what about when he mentioned this, these high-level individuals love to talk about world government. And he said this right here. We don't have a world government. Fortunately, we don't have that many world problems. Most can be solved locally. But this one is a world problem. So what they're saying here is that the whole world needs to be involved, and we need to do this on a global scale. They will implement these carbon taxes globally. It's coming, I assure you. And who's it going to be paid to? Well, of course, the individuals who set up the carbon tax trading schemes. There are billionaires making more billions off of this already, and it's going to escalate, and it's going to be a big business for these individuals in the coming years. This right here is from my book talking about carbon taxes. I have a whole section on it. It basically just said that it's going to be introduced starting in Australia, which it did previously in 2012. Things have changed since, but this book was written before that. And essentially what I said is the truth by what I'm suggesting here, that when you implement carbon taxes, it's supposedly going to stop pollution, but the truth is that all this is going to do is going to push more factories to China and other developing countries where the regulation and tax laws don't interfere with their manufacturing process. It's a fact. If you tax the businesses, they're just going to move to a place where they don't have to face those taxations and regulations and healthcare and all these other things. If you want to make your country a developing nation, if it's a first world or developed nation, if you want to make a developing nation, implement the carbon tax, the fastest way to destroy it. And I just wanted to show you this. I actually 2 nights ago was staring at this picture, staring at a bunch of other pictures of Bill Gates, and it just made me sick, because you look at these people that they come on stage and they put this show on for us, and then they make you believe that they actually care. They're philanthropists, they want to donate money, they have all these foundations, but the true fact is that they don't care about the individual. They fly around the world in their private jets, and they go to talk about carbon taxes. It's really a joke, because the people who are at the head of all of this are the ones that are the biggest polluters in most cases. Here is a leaked DHS memo that had some interesting information. A newly leaked internal DHS memorandum produced for the off-the-record agency conclave reveals that the Obama administration is actively planning to circumvent a federal court injunction that suspended part of last November's deferral-based amnesty initiative. So the government steps in and says, basically, look, we don't want any more of this amnesty, that's enough. So then the Obama administration basically finds its way to say, I'll just sign on a piece of paper and there will be law, and we're just going to let a bunch more people to have their citizenships. Whatever you feel, whichever side of the story you're on, you can't have a president create an order which would make this so. It doesn't work like that. That's not how the government is. The Congress is supposed to be the voice of the people. If they say no, the chances are that the people also say no. It's just things like this that are so ridiculous, but he doesn't have much time left to go through all those criminal acts. Pentagon offers no answers on $43 million price tag for Afghan gas station. So look at this. The Department of Defense spent $43 million on a compressed natural gas fueling station in Afghanistan, while a similar project in Pakistan cost $300,000. Seems to be a little bit of a discrepancy there. And then look at this. And now the Pentagon can't even account for who made the decisions behind the waste, according to the Inspector General's report. And look at this. You have obviously a discrepancy. Obviously millions of dollars were given out to people that shouldn't have it. Perhaps it made its way into ISIS hands. Who knows? But here they are, not even able to account for it. Of course, this happens all the time. Look at what happened the day before on 9/11. The day before, we can't track $2.3 trillion. Sorry, lost it. All right, last but not least, out of the Washington Times, we're looking at the $20 trillion man. National debt nearly doubles during the Obama presidency. Is it Obama's fault necessarily why all this has gone down? Absolutely not. But the fact remains is that under his watch, everything has gotten worse. In every single way, shape, or form, everything has gotten worse. We look at all this, all the criminality that has gone on with the NSA spying and everything. It's all gotten worse. More debt, more spying, less freedoms. Everything is continuing to degrade, and I believe that it's just going to continue the trend. Whoever gets in there in the next term, going to be the same problems. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. And last but not least, if you found the video informative, I know you'll find my book, The Money GPS, even more informative. You can actually flip through the book for yourself. If you go over to Amazon, they have this look inside feature, which allows you to flip through the pages of the book and see if you like it. Take care.